Hello, everyone. This is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horn. First, I apologize for my absence. I've been in the trenches working some things out, but I'm happy to be back in front of you tonight. This is the late night video right here. I had to follow it up with my last video. My last video was disappointment versus devastation in dating. So this is disappointment versus devastation in dating part 2. But before we go any further, always know that my videos in the dating space, they're inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at www.matthewchorne.com. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let's get right to it. It's a late night video. I have love for you all, and I'm happy to be back. It's been over a month, and I apologize again, but I have a lot to share. The motivation for disappointment versus devastation in dating part 2 was a video I saw earlier today of Tia Mowry's ex-husband, Corey Hardwick. And just to revisit the theme of disappointment versus devastation in dating, the disappointment is when your feelings progress. You meet someone, there's mutual magic, and your feelings progress at an exorbitant rate. You all are completely into each other. You're caught up in each other's rapture. And the next thing you know, y'all have messed around and fell in love. You know, it happens, it surprises us, it blindsides us, but when it's right, it's right. And it happens that way sometimes. Now, the fallout can possibly be, and this is what the disappointment is about, is that you all learn about each other after the emotions develop. And you figure out that you two are incompatible. You're bumping heads and you're seeing things in that other person that are detrimental to your future. You're a balanced person. You have a balanced life. You have peace. But now your peace is disrupted. And it's okay to have a level of patience and a threshold for someone you just met, in terms of trying to figure out if you two can work things out and get in a peaceful groove and determine compatibility. But sometimes it's just so glaring that you have to get out just as fast as you got in. Now, the disappointment is the mourning of the hope that you had with this person. It's not easy, but it's less of a burden, an emotional and spiritual burden on you, than going past this with someone that you're not compatible with and facing the ultimate devastation when the incompatibility manifests itself and you all have to part ways after you've built a life together. After you two may have had children, or just, really gone down a road, a long-term relationship, a marriage. That's where the devastation is. And that's why I wanted to introduce Corey Hardwick, and I want to get to that. And that is a natural course of action. Sometimes those emotions develop, but you have to understand that love is never enough. Compatibility determines the quality of your relationship. So you have to mourn, and you have to face that disappointment, and you have to face every facet of expectation and desire and hope that you have for that person. And it's just a natural course of action, but you have to be true to yourself and be balanced enough to understand that even though you may love someone, they might not be the right person for you. And the devastation happens when you go past this. And it's a level of pain that some people can never come back from. The devastation is when the emotional connection has been developed. It's a mutual thing. It's hard to let that go. I understand, because to meet someone that you feel the same way about them that they feel about you, that is a gift, and that is a rarity that we experience very few times in this lifetime. But there has to be an acknowledgement when something is not right, and the glaring signs will be in your face. And if you choose to go past this, now you're opening yourself up for the devastation. The devastation is the dark nights. The devastation is the unnecessary mourning that you have to do of someone that you should have never gone down the road with, because the signs were there. In spite of being in love, having love for, and having a strong mutual emotional connection with this person. That's the devastation. But I had to bring you to part 2 tonight because I saw a video today of Corey Hardwick. He's the ex-husband of Tia Mowry. And Tia Mowry has been very vocal in terms of her reasoning for leaving her husband, Corey Hardwick. And Corey Hardwick has been nothing but silent. He hasn't spoken bad on her name. And he's been in a process of healing. And I guess, being a couple years or so removed from the situation, he's now beginning to speak. And I happened to see the video. And what sparked this video right here is that he cried himself to sleep for a year and a half. He had to mourn so many facets of not hope and expectation because he was living in the reality of the relationship that he desired with the woman he desired it with. He procreated with her. There was no one spoke of infidelity. No one spoke of any wrongdoing, of any abuse. Tia Mowry simply came out and said that she graduated from the marriage, which is puzzling to me. If you take a vow, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, forever, and you can conclude that you graduated from the marriage. That is puzzling to me. But the fallout is what sparked this video. The fallout was Corey Hardwick crying himself to sleep for a very prolonged period of time of a year and a half. So disappointment means that you get out early. Disappointment is meaning that you have a firm enough grasp of yourself that even in spite of the emotion, you can recognize when something is not right for you. You've given it a try to see if you two can get on the same page, but it just wasn't there. Things were just getting worse. And you have to bring the conversation back to yourself and say, what is my life going to be like? What is my quality of life going to be like if I'm with the wrong person? That's a position that is healthy, to get out early and mourn the different aspects of the hope and the expectation that you had with this person who you had a mutual connection with. With Corey Hardwick, it was different. And that's what I want to focus on, is the devastation of going past the red flags, going past the glaring reality that you're incompatible with someone, and the subsequent fallout, which was Corey Hardwick crying himself to sleep for a year and a half. Devastation, you'll cry yourself to sleep for a month or 2, maybe 3. And it's a deep connection, and this person will be on your mind. And this is a person you had an experience with, you had a deep level of love with. So you'll never really forget them, but you can emotionally, through the natural course of how things go, you'll withdraw and you'll be okay because you got out early. Devastation, on the other hand, is a wild card because you don't know how dark those nights are going to get and how deep that pain is going to be. So I would advise and I would advocate to, even if you met someone and the sparks flew, get out. If it's not right for you, give it an honest effort to see if things can work. Give it an honest effort to see if you two can get on the same page. But ultimately, if you must choose yourself to make sure that you don't have to experience the devastation of making the wrong choice, of being with the wrong person. So that's the parallel that brought me to this camera tonight, was that I acknowledge that disappointment is a real thing, and you can't let anybody tell you how deep your connection was with that person because only you and that person experienced it. But those dark nights of crying yourself to sleep, typically it hurts, but you can pull yourself back. That's why I made the parallel of crying yourself to sleep for a month or 2 versus a year and a half. And that's why I had to make this video. That is the glaring difference between choosing disappointment versus choosing devastation. And some people never come back from that devastation. And that's why it's a dangerous thing to play with when someone is in front of your face and you're emotionally connected with them and you're spending time with them and you know they're not right for you. It's a very dangerous game to play. So you always want to choose the disappointment versus the devastation. But there is something that's bright at the end of this particular tunnel. If you can get out, you will position yourself to connect to the person that is right for you. The person that is right for you, I'm not saying your interaction will be absent of conflict, because that's two human beings coming together trying to get to know one another. And you've had a life, you've had years of life before you met one another, but ultimately you all can work through things. And there's nothing in the back of your mind concerning this person. And even as you work through things, you still have peace. That's the sign that this is the right person for you. Peace is always going to be the cornerstone of the things that are right for you. So if you can get out early, don't ever think that you'll never experience that love again. I'm here to tell you that you're going to experience that love again, and you're going to experience it deeper than you ever imagined you could. And this is why I say that. Because once you understand that you're incompatible with someone, even though you love them, you will begin to withdraw. And with that, the love is not going to disappear, but it's just not going to grow with that same fervor as how it developed. So there's going to be a pulling yourself back. The person that is right for you, you're never going to have to pull yourself back from that person. You're going to have the same level of love and connection, but that love is going to grow because you never have to pull yourself back. And subsequently, that love is going to be deeper. When it's the right person, that love is going to be the deepest love you ever experienced it, because there's an atmosphere to foster the growth, because you never had to question that person or pull your love back. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from. The right person, the compatibility, fosters the environment for the deepest level of love that you can experience, because there's nothing that you question about that person in the back of your mind. There's nothing that you two cannot work through and get on the same page about. That's the deepest level of love that you can experience. And it only fosters itself and grows to that point when you're with the person that you're compatible with. So always acknowledge compatibility and incompatibility. If you have the opportunity to, if you draw within yourself the strength to pull yourself back, even if you love someone and you understand that you two are not compatible with one another. Because if you don't, you're robbing yourself of the experience of the deepest love that you can possibly experience with the person who is right for you. Because the atmosphere is going to be fostered in a way that there will be nothing inhibiting the love and the growth that you both have for one another. Incompatibility versus compatibility. Incompatibility versus compatibility. That is the difference between the deepest love that you can possibly experience and letting go of a level of love that is deep, but is not a representation of the deepest love that you can have. You want to position yourself so that you're always in a position to have the best experiences in life and in love. And that's going to be present in the space of compatibility. So it's okay to face some disappointment. We're human beings. We will be disappointed. That's a part of the human experience. But the optimal experience is when you are with someone who sees you the way you see yourself, who reciprocates, and your love naturally grows together in spite of the different challenges, the inevitable challenges that you'll face in relationships. So choose the disappointment versus the devastation. And that's the whole point of the video tonight. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach, bringing you a video tonight titled Disappointment versus Devastation, Part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Always know that my videos in the dating space, they're inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life. In addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at www.matthewchorne.com. If this video has been of value to you, don't forget to drop something in my donation information that's in the description. And also, if you're in need of coaching, email me at matthewchorne23@gmail.com. I can take you to the optimal place to get to optimal experiences in your relationships. I'll be back with you very soon. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and helping to grow the movement. And thank you again for spending some time with me tonight.